to the Red Rooster. My name is Marcus. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. And you know, because of Claudio, he's invited all of us here. We're very, very excited about that. We should start with actually saying congrats to all of these guys over here. You know why? Because in the first year, they reached their goal. It's pretty amazing. No matter what you do, no matter what you do in life, we all have different goals. No matter what you do, if you reach your goal, you worked really hard for it, right? Whether it's homework in school, whether it's being a good teammate, or a good brother or sister, it's good to reach your goal, right? So that's what these guys did, right? So we all come from different places. I was born in Africa. I grew up. Do we know where Africa is?
Yeah.
Yes? Good. So I was born over there. I was born in Africa. Patrick, you were born in Africa too, right?
Born in Africa, yes.
He was born on the west coast of Africa, and I was born on the east coast. Senegal?
Senegal, that's
Nice.
right.
In Dakar?
In Dakar, yes.
And what language do they speak in Dakar?
We had our own dialect,
Yes.
but because Senegal was colonized by the French people,
Yes.
so our first language was French.
Yes. Frank has his own dialect too, Cockney. That's a different dialect. It's a different dialect. A little bit of English. So it's still considered English, right?
It's proper English.
It's proper. That's what it is. Exactly.
You've changed it a bit.
Got it. So, I came here to America, and before that, the one thing that helped me always consider goals and consider working hard was actually through my soccer coach, right? When I played soccer, everything that we do in the kitchen here today, I actually learned when I was your age. Listen to coach. My parents loved it because they didn't have to scream at me. Coach screamed at me enough. So I think that no matter what, you're listening to coach, you're listening to your parents, you set up goals, you work hard as a team, and you guys can achieve anything. Anything. Who has a big dream? Who has a big goal? Who has like a goal to, what would be a goal that one of you, yes, what would be your goal?
To be a professional soccer and be
Wow.
the best in the world.
Wow. Well, you know what? You can do it, but you have to work really, really, really hard. Right? Who else has a big goal? Someone? Yes.
Just to be like Frank Lampard.
Come up. Did you say hi? Oh, you took a picture already. Nice.
I like it.
Nice. All of us, I bet you, if you had a goal and a dream, so did they. And the one thing you're going to hear combined is that parents or an uncle or an auntie that they have to listen to and they have to work hard. So why don't we start off over here?
Hi everybody, thank you Marcus. I've been here many times and I love the restaurant, and I grew up in New Jersey. I'm American, but my family's from Argentina. So I hear a lot of Spanish speaking I think names in this group. In my house I learned how to speak Spanish growing up, and my dad was a big inspiration who pushed me in life and in school to reach my potential, and I was lucky to play soccer. I represented my country. I got to live in 3 countries, Germany, Scotland, and England, and it was an amazing experience. But as Marcus mentioned, it's never easy. It was a lot of hard work, ups and downs, but you always, with the right support, you can never do it on your own. I think you can achieve anything, and I think you guys as kids, whether it's parents, siblings, Nate in the back and Paul with the community, I think there's a lot of people looking out for you. So you just, like you said, you have a dream one day maybe to be this guy next to me, you got to believe it. And you know, I was, again, you need a little luck, but it definitely is a lot of hard work. So I now work for NYCFC. As Marcus said, we just made the playoffs, so that was our first goal. But we're going to keep working very hard, and we have 3 games left in the regular season, followed by the playoffs. So we play at Yankee Stadium, not too far away, I hope, and I think maybe all of you have been to one of our games, but so I have the privilege of working with Patrick, the head coach. Jason and Frank are two of our leaders on the team. Frank plays midfield and Jason plays defense. So we're really excited about being in the community as well. And these days are really important for us as well. It's not just about the games, but to come to the community and meet you guys. So we're here a little bit. I guess I'll pass it on to Frank after.
I have a question before
Sure,
you.
okay.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, Claudio being captain of the U.S. national team, which is an amazing achievement, but you also been an immigrant 3 or 4 times, right? Because you had to go to Germany, and you have to go to Scotland, and you have to go to Manchester. And how was it to be different or an outsider each time? How was that?
Yeah, and that's a good question. So I moved to Germany when I was just turned 20 years old, and when I got there and I couldn't speak one word of German, the first thing I thought about was how difficult it was for my parents to do the same thing, because they had to move from Argentina to the United States and they didn't speak a word of English. So it was really one of the first conversations I had with mom and dad. I said, oh, I guess this was like when you moved to the US. And so I was able to learn through that experience and, you know, try to adapt and learn a language and be accepted as a soccer player, but also into a new country. So it wasn't easy. I was very nervous and in so many different ways, but it was a great experience. Then I got to move to Scotland. They speak Scottish, but I couldn't understand them at all. And then got to live in England as well. Obviously they speak English. So it's opened my mind, and all these experiences. I learned so much, different foods that I never ate, and all the different things that you learn from traveling. So I definitely encourage that, to see the world as much as you can, because it taught me so much, for sure.
Frank, lights on you, spotlight. Come on, tell us the story. How did you get started in football?
Okay, my story was my father was a soccer player in England in the old Premier League. So I grew up wanting to be a soccer player, like as you say, a lot of you maybe do here. He was very tough with me actually, really pushed me a lot, which I didn't always appreciate. I hated him sometimes, he was really strong, but in the end I think I appreciated what he was trying to do, and I was very fortunate because my mother was very strong in my studies. She told me that there's not just one route that's going to work for you in becoming a soccer player. You have to obviously work hard at school, work hard on your studies as well, to give yourself a well-rounded upbringing, you know. So I had both sides, so I was very fortunate to have that. Not everybody has that, but I did. Luckily enough, as I made my way up and through school, I continued playing soccer, did pretty well. Left school at 16 and went to play professionally at West Ham in the Premier League. Played there for 4 years, signed for Chelsea at 22. Had some really successful years there, was fortunate, had really good players in the squad. A very rich owner, is still there. And we had a lot of success. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, I then went to Manchester, that had a year, come to New York, which I think has been really big experience for me, because as you mentioned there, I'm not just playing and doing what I do every day, but moving to a different country and learning about other people, how they live, cultures. And New York is such a diverse city, I've really appreciated that. That's probably made me grow as a person. Not much more to say other than I had my goal, as we keep talking about tonight, and to get to it you have ups and downs, and the important part is when you're on a down. You know, I had many times training when I was younger, playing matches, you have a bad match, you have a bad day at school, you fall out with your friends, you have problems with anything in life, and I think they're the tough moments that would be my word to you all, is to you get the tough moments, but then you have to be tough. But at the same time you have to enjoy growing up and have fun, like hopefully we're going to have tonight.
So idolized, who was the guy that you like, why?
You already mentioned him. It was Maradona. Yeah, Maradona. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had in England we had a player called Paul Gascoigne, who was
Yes.
the greatest midfield player in England as I was growing up, and I looked up to him. But Maradona for me was the greatest player of all time, until maybe now Messi's come along.
Yeah.
And now I think maybe Messi's the best.
Who would you think, as all the great players you played against, who was the toughest player you ever played against? Patrick probably.
Patrick was tough. Patrick was really tough. Yeah. He was a bit older than me. He used to bully me. Yeah. He'd give me a little leg and then he'd flick over my head with them long legs. No, but too many. I mean, Messi, Ronaldo, I think two of the greatest players in the world. They're the standout ones. But many in the Premier League, Steven Gerrard in his heyday. Yaya Toure when he was playing really strong. I could go on and on. I've been very fortunate to play against so many great players.
Excellent. So we all go through tough times, right? All of you guys gonna go through great times and tough times. So what is like an advice, like when you go through tough times, like what is that keeps you like, keep pushing, keep going? Is there advice that you would have, like how do you go through it?
You know what, you have to have a belief in yourself because the tough times come to everybody, so never get too upset. I think you have to see the bigger picture, you know.
Yes.
Some days you feel really upset in yourself because you had a bad practice or whatever, but I think to be strong and also to have, you know, friends and family around you. I think that's a really strong thing. As I said, I was very fortunate to have important family. I recognise how important that was for me now, so like all your friends, people around you, and you for your friends as well, you have to help them out in those times where it's not always going so great.
You had your cousin to compete against too.
I had a cousin who was, again, it was competing, but it was good because I could learn from him. So I think you try and learn from everything. I was lucky, a football family surrounding me, but I tried to learn from everybody I could.
So Jason, tell me, where did you come up and you're in the middle of your career right now? Is it the way you thought about it?
You said middle, I appreciate that.
Yes. No, but you know, like, go ahead.
Hey guys, so my name is Jason. I was born here in Manhattan. Actually, my family's from Puerto Rico, but I was born in New York City. I lived in the city for a little bit and then actually moved over to Jersey. That's where I grew up. So, growing up, actually, baseball was my first sport. I love baseball. My father loved it, so we used to play a bunch. And actually, it wasn't until I got to about 5th grade when I changed schools that I went to a school with a really large population of South American and Colombian guys in particular. And so to make friends, I wanted to hang out with them and get to know them, so I began playing soccer. They played soccer all the time, and it was my first time I'd ever even seen the game and been exposed to it. And I fell in love with it, and it was something that I thought about all the time. You know, when I wasn't in school, I wanted to play soccer, I wanted to watch soccer. Even when I would close my eyes at night, before I'd get to sleep, I would just see the game and see things, you know, right inside my eyes. And so, for me, obviously, I've been in the USA my whole life. These guys have played internationally, but for me, soccer was my passion, and then it became my tool. It was my way to get a scholarship to play in college. And for me, like Frank mentioned, school was number one in my household, and so if I didn't have good grades, I wasn't even allowed to play soccer. So school came first in my grades, and I was lucky enough that I did well in school, and I began to train really, really hard and train on my own a lot, and I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to continue to play in college. So when I got to college, all my tuition was paid for, all my books and everything, and I could go and learn and still play the game that I love to play. And then when I was done, I could get a degree. And so I actually went to Seton Hall University, which is in New Jersey, and I studied in the business school, and I got my finance degree. And so, funny enough, when I was in college, I was thinking, I love playing so much, but I don't know if I'm going to play professional. So, you know, I'm going to begin working. I came to New York City, and in the summertime, would have a job and would have a shirt and tie and be in the office. And luckily enough, before I graduated, I got drafted, and I became a professional. And so I played in Major League Soccer. This is my 12th year now. I've played in California for many years, and I was able to come back and play in New York starting with last year. And it's been an amazing experience to come play for my home city and to be with an organization and a club that's starting from nothing to becoming such a great presence in pretty much one of the biggest cities in the world, if not the biggest city in the world. And it's been really fun to come and like do things like today and hang out with you guys and really see my club and the organization here become a part of the city and become a part of you guys. So it's been really a dream come true, so I'm just happy to be here.
What's the biggest difference? You played 12 years. What's the biggest difference in MLS today versus when you got in? Like how have you seen it grow?
Yeah, it's really, it's amazing. There's about twice as many teams now as there was when I began playing. and you know, we weren't always on TV. You couldn't always find the games, and even just in the stadiums and the type of places we would play were maybe old football stadiums, you know, or old college stadiums, where now so many teams are playing in big stadiums and playing in soccer-specific stadiums. Just so the level of the sport, we've gotten so many fantastic players to come in and play and bring the level up. So it's been so much changes, and you know, so many good things have happened for soccer in the U.S. And you know, obviously for me, 12 years is quite a long time. And so, like Frank had mentioned, you know, there's a lot of ups and downs and good and bad. And I think to this day, I still look back at my mistakes and the times I maybe lost or had failed. And those were the times where I feel like I've learned the most. And I look back at those times and I feel really fortunate to have those mistakes, so I know not to make them again, and to feel like I'm stronger for them. So,
Who was your role model coming up? Like, it was your parents, or was it someone outside the family?
yeah, my father was a big role model for me. My father worked at a factory in New York City, and then once I was born, he decided to put himself through night school to become an accountant, and then he worked as an accountant for the rest of his life. So he was someone that I saw through hard work, through setting goals and achieving his goals, he got what he wanted. So that was really inspiring, and that's something that I think I'm trying to carry on to myself, hopefully going forward.
And that's how it is in life, you know, like, there is not one path, you know, all you can do is work hard and sort of create, you listen to your family, and then you have mentors, whether the mentor is your coach or, you know, someone in your community, and then you just, you know, really wish for the best. But you gotta, everyone's gonna say the same, you gotta work hard and be disciplined, you know. Yes, sir, tell us how you came up. Tell us your story.
Yes, so my story was I grew up born in Senegal,
Yeah.
so in West Africa, and my family decided to move to Paris for a better life. So I left Senegal when I was 8 years old, and since the early age I always fell in love with the game. So with friends playing in the street every day, and then I get scouted by one of the coaches who asked me to go to play for this football club. And I was 14 years old. And I decided to go to play for this football club, and training every day and getting better. And I moved to a bigger club. So, and I moved again one more time. So I signed my first contract with a professional team when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
So I was quite lucky, because when I was young and I was growing up, I always had a good person who was a mentor for me,
Yeah.
who gave me the right advice. Because I believe that when you are young, you always have to make a decision. And it was always important, and I was quite really lucky, because I always had the right person who showed me the right direction. And then at 18 years old, I moved from France. I went to sign for AC Milan in Italy. And that was a big move, because going to Italy, didn't know nothing about the language, the culture, so I needed to adapt myself. And it's not easy when you are 18 and to move from your family home, where your mom's cooking what you want every night, and then moving to somewhere where you don't speak the language. So it was a big decision, but I wasn't scared at all to do it, because since I was young, I wanted to be a football player, and I wanted to play with the biggest players in the world. So I make a decision to go, because I believe it on myself, even if it was a really difficult decision, because after a year I left and I went to England. Like Frank, he didn't need to move from England, because England was the biggest league in the world and everybody wanted to play in England. So to play against the best, I needed to leave France, because France wasn't the best league. So I decided to move to England. I moved to Arsenal, where I spent 9 years, and I played next to some fantastic football players. And I really enjoyed my game. I had a chance to be with the French national team, and I'm really in love with the game, because the game make my education.
I'm still mad at you for leaving, by the way.
But yes, I'm really like, this is why I'm coaching now, because the game make me travel around the world.
Yeah.
The game make me learn different languages, different culture, and the game make my education as well. And that's why I love the game so much. I really respect the game, and this is the reason why I'm still involved in the game. and that is why I wish them, because he starts with a passion, spending time with a friend, and now you realize that you have a little bit of talent, and then you go to play for different football clubs, and then you're working really hard. You have to make sacrifice, you have to work really hard, and of course parents, coaches has a massive part to play, because you need support. You need support when you go into a difficult period. So that's why it's important to know that you can count on parents and coaching to advise you, and it's a fantastic sport, it's a fantastic game.
Being a coach now versus a player, which one is the hardest?
Being a coach. No doubt about it. Being a coach is the hardest one. Because when you play, you're on the field and you have the sensation that you are under control. When you are a coach, you're working during the week, the game's coming, and then you're not on the field. It's the players who decide the result of the game. You're planning something, sometimes it's going on the right way, sometimes it's going on the wrong way, but the players on the field, they are the ones who decide the outcome of the game.
Claudio, what's the difference between playing and running a club? There's very few people that can be successful in soccer, and then very few that becomes coaches after that. But running a club, this is a completely different job, right?
Yeah, similar to Patrick, you know, we look at the club in a broader way. I think when when I played, you focus on yourself first and take care of yourself, and then obviously contributing to your team. But you know, I think we just try to get good people. You know, it's very important. You can't do it by yourself. Like when you play soccer or do anything, you can't do it all by yourself. So I'm lucky because there's good staff, good people around the club, and I think the success we're having now is because of everybody. So you're really thinking more about the team, and I think when you play, you do focus a little bit more about yourself, which is normal. But like in anything, you can't do it on your own. You need a team around you to get it done.
Have anyone heard about Champions League? Have anyone heard about the big tournament that we play in Europe, right? Champions League with all the big teams. Ask Frank when he played that night he won that. That's a big deal. How was it to win Champions League? How was that?
It was the best night of my career. Champions League for me. Unfortunately, in England we don't win the World Cup. So Patrick might know more about that with France. But no, in terms of a club competition, the Champions League is the best. And we were lucky enough. I tried to win it many times, or we did at Chelsea. We were unlucky for different reasons, and we kept going, kept trying. We were all getting a bit older, and we were scared that it wasn't going to be our time. And then we had that one time, and I think the reason we won it, we had some real luck in the final and in the build-up to the final, was for all the hard work we'd put in for so many years, and we didn't win it. Just sort of goes to show that if you put in the effort along the way, you don't always get the reward instantly. It generally comes in the end.
So, Claudio's captained the US in the World Cup. Patrick's been lucky enough to win it. Fortunate to play. How was it to play the World Cup final?
It was a dream. It was a dream come true. We've been really lucky because that was the perfect generation of players, because we had everything. We had one of the best, if not the best players in the world with Zinedine Zidane. We had one of the best strikers with Thierry Henry. We had really good players that really wanted to compete together to win something for the country. And winning the World Cup in France, in front of our fans, was unbelievable. It was really a dream come true.
Wow, good. All right, these are all stars. We can't do much better than this. We want to thank Jason, Claudio, Frank, and Patrick. We gotta give them. We gotta show them the love, right? Taking time out. And I know I'm forcing you guys to eat salad. I know. Listen, I planned this. I did this on purpose. You have to enjoy a little bit of salad.